Back at you again. Greetings. This is Senator James Sanders Jr., and I am here with the show that we call Let's Be Clear. We call it that way because there's so much fuzzy thinking going around, so many people with confused ideologies, weird statements, and you ask a simple question and you get 12 non-answers. You're not going to get that on this show. We're going to ask simple questions, simple statements, and the truth will be easily discernible to anybody who's interested in the truth. And we're going to explore certain truths today. We're going to talk about COVID-19 and in days gone by. And my guest today is a brother named Gary Hillard. Now, Gary is, of course, an 1199 official, but he also works at St. John's Hospital in Far Rockaway, and he will give you his title better. My paper seemed to have walked away from me that had his title. I've known, oh my God, Brother Hilliard for, oh my God, we're probably talking 20 years. He was 1 year old, I was 2 years old. So we knew each other for at least 20 years. And we have fought on different sides. We have fought on the same side. We have much more fun fighting on the same side of things. We seem to get so much more done when we fight together. Now, Gary is the type of person who's the best person that money can't buy. And he lives in my community. He lives there. I live there. And therefore, he has a heart to this particular community that we'll talk about. And he's not going to lie to you over what's happening on the ground. Now, I've invited him because we have heard all kinds of stories. COVID is not real. COVID-19 is not real. We've heard COVID doesn't affect Black people. I've heard people say, oh, nobody died from it, all kinds of stuff that I want this brother to take a few minutes and see if he can drop some knowledge to some of you and hit you over the head with some knowledge for the rest of you knuckleheads. So having said that, let me stop for a moment and say, Brother Gary, how are you and what is your proper title?
All right. Hey, Senator, how are you today?
I feel real.
My current title is a senior morgue attendant at St. John's Hospital.
All right. How long have you been doing that, sir?
So, I don't know, maybe about 7 years.
All right.
So, I went into the morgue pretty much as a favor to help out a few years back, and COVID just kind of came out of nowhere. And wow, you know, as I'm talking to you, I'm just thinking about what we went through in here. From your office and a few other elected officials, we had a lot of support coming in, but to those that think that was a hoax, the deaths was real. The death, I carried over 350 people out of this hospital, and a lot of them I personally knew, and a lot of them I knew
from ahead, and we're gonna get to that. But this is my show, Gary. Come on, let me get a little bit here.
I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry.
Man, I'm messing with you, brother. I'm messing with you. But Gary, tell me this: what is the name of the hospital? I'm not sure we put that in the record.
St. John's Episcopal Hospital in Far Rockaway.
How long have you been there?
28 years.
All right. So now, Gary, we got another wave of COVID-19 about to sweep down on us. And it turns out that Far Rockaway and Edgemere have the lowest vaccination positions probably in the entire city. What explains that?
I don't know. Maybe distrust. Could be because when you hear that part, and then like I'll give you on a typical day, I'll hear something about which is alarming about the rise in the numbers, and then I'll see a report that says where they said more people need to be tested, and they want to do regular testing, and then that same day or the day after, I'll see a report that says the stick that they put up your nose with the oxide on it breaks down DNA in people's body. And I'm not saying that any of that is true, but I just think that that just goes towards people distrust overall.
Well,
Because
I've heard some, if you use this, you become magnetized. I have just heard some stuff in the journey. Have you seen any proof of any of this?
no, no. I mean, and then some stuff is just foolishness. But then, some stuff, man. Our government hasn't always did people right, and I'm not just talking about people of color. Just haven't always did right. I think if people were just a lot more honest, it would be much more acceptable across the board in everything we do. But um, what's going on, the people that have passed, that's real. You can talk about people can talk about hoax and all this other foolishness with former president had a lot to do with, but the deaths was real, man. People were coming to the hospital and dropping dead in the doorway, you know. And the people that experienced that will never ever be able to truly get past that. That will always be a part of them the rest of their life.
Well, you have offered me the opportunity to look back in time to show a video to see what was going on at the period that you were speaking. Put this video in context, Gary. Well, what TV station shot it, and what were they shooting?
So two reporters from the New York Times came in, and they went through the hospital speaking to people, and then they um, wanted to do interviews with particular people because they couldn't, clearly couldn't do the whole hospital. And so I spent about 3 days with these reporters, and they all they wanted to do was show what the workers were going through and dealing with this pandemic. And I haven't watched it. People tell me that I was pretty emotional in there, and that had a lot to do with the reporters, because before they came, I wasn't like that. I was just doing it, getting it done. I felt I was working for the community. I felt I was working for the people, families, and I felt I was on a mission down there. I didn't worry about nothing. There was a higher power pushing me much more than I can push myself. And to a great deal, it was the fact that the families couldn't come in here and be near these people. And I felt I was working for them. I mean, every day I used something, Senator, to get me past it. Because when I would leave here at night, I said, I don't think I'm going back in the morning. And I would get up in the morning, meditate, pray, music, and would come right in here, and I would find a reason to get it done that day. And I said, well, you know what? I ain't coming back here tomorrow. But I kept coming back. Months later, it wasn't as bad as it was. We were.
Gary, let me stop you there. And Anne Marie, if you show, we can see part of what you were speaking about.
From over there.
I feel a responsibility to this place, this community. We are safety net hospital.
So there's 9 in there.
Yes.
Like working in the morgue right now, I'm still trying to figure out why God placed me here at this moment.
Hey, and right under.
Once I go outside, I'm in a zone with it. Go. It's set up like an airplane. You're looking for somebody there in section 5, row D. You couldn't have told me that we would have did that a month and a half ago.
Who we got?
Mackey,
Say that again?
Joe Mackey, M-A-C-K-E-Y.
Oh, snap. Lord have mercy. Oh, man. Yeah, I know who he is. It's my son's grandfather, best friend, man. Jesus. One, two, three. Stop. 1, 2, 3. All the way. Yeah, that's him. God bless him, man. Jesus.
It's more emotional for me now than it was 2 months ago. It's starting to tap into my pain. We got this thing, we man up and get it done. We don't go to somebody and say, I'm hurting. And if we're gonna recover from this correctly, we're gonna have to do that.
Well, I believe that we got a snapshot of what was happening. Describe what was happening in that period, Gary. I'm sorry to put you through this. Describe what was happening. All right. I'll take you for a moment.
Senator, I never saw that, man. I never saw this thing. I never saw it. I refused to watch it. And I started to close my eyes, but I knew you was gonna ask me questions about it. So I had to watch it. That was the first time I ever saw this thing.
Mm-hmm. Well, Gary, what do you say to people who say that this is not real?
Well, if especially if they live in Rockaway, somebody in their family or somebody they know died. Somebody they connected to died, because so many people that came through here I personally knew, or knew because they come back and forth to the hospital for care, and they've just developed a rapport with them behind transporting them or just seeing them. You know me, Senator, I'm very talkative. I talk to people. You can't have been around and this thing not touched you. I mean, we in this hospital alone, it had to be over 600 people, I would think, that died from it. I don't know the exact numbers. And I know in Rockaway, it had to be over 1,500 people. I think we had like 22 people dying here in one day. I think at Queens General, one day it was 89 people. There's nothing hoaxy about that. Those are real numbers and those are real death. You can talk about some things that's not being done right, but you can't say that this is a hoax, because those numbers of the people dying are real. Those are real numbers.
Now, wait, Gary, some of them are going to say that you must be taking money from Big Pharma, that somebody's paying you to say these things.
Well, I'll say this. I never really paid attention to the hoax thing in the beginning until after this video came out. And good friends of mine, people that I know for a long time, came to me and said, yeah, I didn't believe none of that until I saw you on that video saying. And I'm like, really? Wow. Wow. So that just shows you, these are people that I know well out
Well,
here
wait a
that
minute.
thought it was a hoax.
Do you or do you not work for Big Pharma?
No, I don't.
I got it.
Let's try it again. Do you or do you not work for big pharmacies?
No,
Do you?
absolutely not.
Are you getting any of those $1 million paychecks or any big money to make these statements?
Nope. I work for a great local community hospital, and I'm a 1199 member that's always fighting in the community, and a lot of times alongside you. Actually, this great ER that we got, this ER that they spent $10 million on, it started with 1199 sending us a van and a driver, and we went up to Albany to see you.
Yes.
It started there. That's what, you know, everybody takes credit for that ER, but
Well,
that's how it started. It was 7, 8 of us, and we went up to see you, and I think Michelle Titus and whoever else, but we initially went to see you because we know you could get the ball started.
well, they say that success has 1,000,000 fathers, but failure is an orphan. Everybody that takes success will take credit for what's real, but if it fails, nobody will take the weight. But I want you to take the weight, brother. I want you to. Have you moved away? Do you now live in Beverly Hills, brother? Or are you still in the Rockaways?
I'm still here, man. I'm still in Rockaway, and that actually, when we talk personally, I got some issues I need you to look at to help this community. So we will be talking.
Well, it does sound like you are very local. So how do I, hey man, I know a mutual friend of ours. I'll give you his first name, Jeffrey. Jeffrey was driving tractor trailers, and Jeffrey went out to Indianapolis and he was feeling sick, and he decided to go to the hospital. He went in, and after a while, they started, all kinds of stuff went crazy. They said, you got COVID-19. Make a long story short, they put that man on a ventilator. He stayed on a ventilator for close to 2 months. They didn't think he was gonna make it, Gary. Didn't think he was gonna make it. And I didn't know any of this. I was speaking to him, and he was saying how grateful to God he was that he survived it. Sounds good. I'm with him. Then he asked me a strange question. He says, have you been vaccinated? I said, yeah, absolutely. He said, you got both shots? I said, absolutely. Well, okay. Then he said, okay, you've encouraged me then. I'll try to go and get shot. I said, wait a minute. Jeffrey, you done survived a ventilator. What are you scared of? The man started telling me that he was scared of taking the shots. Gary, does that make any sense? A man who just came from a ventilator is scared of taking shots.
Well, I just say to that, man, you take the information, you make the best choice for you, and if you have to make it for family members, it's based on the information you receive and what you think you need to use it, and how you think you're going to apply it. And we'll see with this variants, man. They say with the variants, you can just walk past somebody and get it. So I listen to a lot of different information. It's frightening. But I listen. It's a lot of information being put out there. But again, we don't want to see this again, man.
No.
I mean, and to the magnitude that it was here, and how we handle it, and I have to say to this leadership in this hospital, they were fantastic. Every minute it kept changing, and every time we put a call in, they'd give us a minute, and they would get back to us in 10 minutes and had a direction and a way to go. So kudos to Mr. Walsh, you know. But if this thing comes back,
When
like
did
the
they
way,
come back?
like if it comes back like the way they say it can, um, one good thing, you know, when it hit the first time, once they got a handle on it, you could see it. Things just got better. So um, I would think that it wouldn't hit like that, but what they're saying with this variant is a strong possibility that it could. And just thinking about that, man, just got me scared to death, man. Because to be honest, man, I don't know if I could do that again.
My. Now,
I don't know
Gary,
if I could do that again. I don't know if I could do it. I
I
mean, literally, Senator, I was carrying bodies from 7:30 in the morning to 10:30, 11 o'clock at night.
and these were people you knew.
A lot of them I knew, and if I didn't personally know them, I met them in the hospital. You know, I'm like you, Senator. I talk with any and everybody. Love talking to people because you learn things.
Yes, you
So
were.
somebody comes here for care, and they in and out of here, I'm eventually going to start talking to them and get a rapport with them. And so I saw a lot of them, and it just it just piled up what was already going on. And then it was the people that I was related to and connected to also, you know.
Hmm. Well, I'm trying to really figure what do you suggest that I do that other electors do to get to these non-believers? What do you think? What message should I take to them?
Well, knowing what I personally know about you, what you're doing. I mean, you never stop. Um, uh, when this thing was at its worst, you were holding Zoom. I mean, one day I was like, "Well, does the senator know that I got a job?" I mean, one day we did a housing thing with you, and then right after there was a workers something, and then I said, "Man, I can't." You know, I had to get off. So you have never stopped with the community. So I would just say, just continue doing what you're doing. I mean, if you talk to 30 people and you reach 4, it's a good thing, you know.
Especially with this day and age. Uh, Now, how about the very young? How do you reach the teens and preteens?
Well, and that's a good question because I was walking, you know, one of the things I do every week, I walk through the park where everybody be drinking. I walk through Redfern, you know, I grew up there, so I walked through there and 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 I was walking to Inwood. I was going to Sister Pat house to pay my tithes, and I saw these young guys. I think they range from 17 to 20, and I said, you know, something's wrong in our community. You young guys ain't talking to us older guys, and it's a problem. And in every other community, everybody communicates, but in ours, we're the young are not communicating with the old, right? So what would I have to do to get you guys to show up to a forum? What would I have to say to get you to show up? Not to listen to me, but us to hear what you guys want to do. Or what are you trying to do? But just we need to start talking because there's no conversation going on and it's a problem, man. And I didn't really get a whole lot of feedback from them young brothers, which wasn't a problem because who comes to them like that? So, but I did start something. So I know when I see them again, I'm gonna continue to build like that. And you definitely gonna come into play because I'm gonna come to you and say, I'm gonna need your help, man. I'm gonna need you to be a part of it. And you do that, and you do that on a regular basis. I mean, you
Already
always
okay,
holding
Gary.
a forum. You always holding a forum somewhere, you know.
It is
And I
already
just think
there
you need to,
when you are ready.
yeah. And I think you do a great job with that, man. You've been holding forums, man, since you got in office. I remember when I was living down in the '60s, and I remember when the city first told them that they own 3 feet into their property.
Yeah, oh yeah, I remember
but,
those back.
but, but, but you had a meeting on that, and I remember that.
Absolutely.
I was at that meeting, man, and I remember, and I said to you, I said, Senator, so how about? And matter of fact, you wasn't even in the senator then. You wasn't. I think you were city council.
Councilman.
Yeah, and I said, so all right, if they own it, then just tell the people that they got to get paid for manicuring the city property, But I'm only saying that to just show that you've been doing these meetings. You always meet with the public, and maybe if there's something more, just maybe more intensity with it, But you're pretty much on the right path.
Well, who do you believe is the most in danger? In October, we're supposed to be full effect with all of this stuff from COVID-19. Who do you think we should put our energies into to try to get them between now and October?
Oh, the younger people. The younger people.
I hear that they are going to go back and school is starting. Do you have any fears or dreads about school and things of that nature?
I would just think that based on what happened, the government would put some safeguards in place. They don't want everybody back in school to get sick. And look at the way colds spread around the school. So, and everybody's constantly touching everything. So I would think they would put some type of safeguard in place.
Mm-hmm. Now, what could electeds do more at a time like this? Yeah, what could we do? And how about the union? What is the union doing at this period?
Well, our union is pro health, and we are a social union. We pick up social causes and all the time. I mean, you name it, 1199 is there. We're a social union. We stand for social justice. So whatever is good for our 1199 members and their communities and the families, we're right there. And we're the #1 political union in the country, I would think. I don't think no other union is more stronger politically than we are. So we always work hand in hand with politicians or people running for office that want to make positive change.
Well, I certainly know that 1199 is one of the strongest in the world, and I know that they have gone back to the days of Martin Luther King and before. And as if there's one person who does not know, let me tell them, part of my political genesis had to do with 1199. The 1199 chose me 1 billion years ago and worked with me hand and foot to make me a council person. So I owe a special debt to 1199 and to several other unions, that a debt that I try to pay every day. But just, you gave me the chance to say it again, Gary, in case there's somebody foolish enough to believe that I made this by myself or somehow I'm here by myself. No, the people of my district organized themselves and said that you're gonna go up there and you will have, the only fear that my people want me to have is the fear of God and the respect of the community, and to respect the community. So it gives me the ability to speak the truth, the power, in spite of, because nobody could shut me up and nobody can stop me except my community. They're the ones who hired me. They're the ones who can fire me. Now we have just about lost a governor in this period, Gary. How do you think that this will impact on dealing with this COVID-19 crisis?
Well, just what I heard about the reports. I guess she's the lieutenant governor.
Yes,
Who's
local
going to take
Kathy
over.
Hope.
She says she's going to hit the ground running. I heard this morning on the news that she's already hired some key advisors. And I guess she would do a transition with Governor Cuomo. He's going to be there for another 14 days. I would think part of it, he would be
13 and
working,
counting. Go ahead.
I would think that he would be working closely with her to help her transition into that seat based on what he said. He's not retiring because he broke the law. He's retiring because it's upsetting government. Things are not getting done because it's all focused on this issue. So if there's validity to that statement he made, then he should be doing a transition with her and helping her to move in and keep this thing going, especially dealing with this COVID thing.
Well, I really look forward to the new working relationship. I think that it will do better for our community, and I wish the incoming acting governor well. She will be filling out his position, and she will be the acting governor. Well, actually, she will be the governor, but she will have a short term, and then she will, if she chooses, run again in 2022. Now, getting back to, because all politics is local. We are in the middle of summer. We had Rockaway's Old Timers Day just happened to us just a couple of days ago. I believe that the city lost an opportunity, Gary. I told them they should have that COVID tested, that COVID vaccination truck right there. Maybe close to 1,000 people came through the Rockaway Old Timers Day. Imagine if they had the truck. How many people do you think
It was packed, man. And even when I got there, I played Monday morning quarterback. And I said, wow, there should have been a sign up saying everybody wear your mask for the day. But I didn't think about that until I walked into the park. And most of the people didn't have on masks, and then there was those of us that did. And I even thought about going over to the DJ and ask, could I get on the mic and say that? But I said, you know what? Everybody like me right now. Let me, because you don't know how that conversation would have turned out. But it was most of the people there didn't have on masks. You could see the people that did stood out because it wasn't a lot of people wearing masks.
Well, before you got there, Gary, and before it got even more crowded, I was there and we were handing out masks.
Oh, okay.
We just went through the crowd handing out masks to people and sanitizer to people. And that is what we need to do. And matter of fact, we sent the local electeds, Rockaway electeds, sent a letter to the mayor saying, anytime that the community has a big event, he should make sure that it's required that they have a vaccination truck there also, so that we can get to people. Because if 1,000 people were there, I'm betting that maybe we could get 200 to 300 of them to get the shot. And that's less than a third. And I bet you we could have done that. Now, Gary, we are approaching the end of this. Is there any message that you want to give to our beloved community, which has the second lowest rate of vaccination in the state? Is there any message that you want to give your neighbors and your friends?
Well, I would just say to the brothers and sisters out there that first, man, we got to take care of each other, because every other community takes care of themselves except ours. The people who look like me, we don't take care of each other. We have to start there, and we have to be more informed about what's going on. Get up and listen to some news, man, and find out what's going on with the numbers out here. From what I hear, the numbers are frightening out here. And it's always, the numbers are always bad. During COVID, we was the second highest COVID rate. I think it was Brooklyn, then it was us, you know. And I think we were pretty high up with the death rate too in the state of New York. So I would just tell people, man, to take care of yourself. If your numbers tell you you need to be vaccinated, then you should get vaccinated. You know.
And the numbers actually do say that. Now, my friends, you have heard one of our street legends, one of our local brothers who was the front line in this battle against COVID-19. And he certainly can tell you what happens if you don't win that battle. And my friends, we're not trying to scare you. This ain't about fear. This is all about love. This is about our chance to say to you, yes, we know about Tuskegee 626. Yes, we can tell you about a bunch of stuff, but this is not that. And this is something real sweeping through these communities, and COVID-19 is going to heavily impact us. For those who believe that it had nothing to do with Black people, may I remind you that the majority of the people who died from COVID, at least in New York State, were people of color. And under those conditions, and many of them Black. So I'm encouraging you, if you don't want to do it for yourself, do it for your little child who's home. Do it for your grandmother. Do it for somebody who you are going to come into contact with. Even if you are healthy, you may be giving it to somebody else who is not healthy, and you're taking them out. But this show has been called Let's Be Clear. And we have been clear this afternoon. Clear that only you could save your life if you wish. Nobody can stop you from getting sick if you do everything to insist. Then it's a matter between you and God. But we are telling you and asking you, beseeching you, which is a nice way of saying begging, to take care of yourself, because there's only one you. And we love you and want you around. And under those conditions, I brought my brother Gary with me, and he's been with me in so many fights that we don't even know which fights. We just know we won most of them.
We've been in a lot of fights, man. We've been in a lot, man. That's right. Over the years.
And we've won and we've lost, and it's better to win. And this is one that we got to win. We got to win this battle against COVID-19. And the way that we know how to win is to get everybody vaccinated and to everybody wear the mask, treat yourself right, and don't do stupid stuff. You know most of the stuff. Stop doing it. If stop doing it. We love you. Having said that, my friends, Gary, I'm really grateful that you spent a little time with me on this show, and God willing, somebody's gonna walk up to you and say, you know what? I heard you and you made me do right. Because it's kind of nice to save a life, Gary. And you deserve to be known for that too. Brother Gary, thank you kindly for being on the show. This has been Let's Be Clear with Senator James Sanders Jr. And until next time, be clear that you are loved. Go with God.
Thank you, Senator. All right. Bye-bye, brother.